How many times have you walked into a meeting with absolute dread, knowing you're about to deal with that stakeholder? You know the one. You know, the one that fills you with unbelievable angst and stress. I've been there more times than I can count. But today, we're not just going to talk about surviving these encounters. We're going to talk about how you can work together with these stakeholders to keep your project on track and your sanity intact. So I'm someone that has been in the trenches for a while, 15 years as a business analyst and a business analyst manager, plus an additional decade as a product owner. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot, from the overly enthusiastic stakeholders to the ones that barely ever even show up. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about who I think is the worst stakeholder out there. This is the one I think that we all dread. So, when you interviewed for that job, or when you go to a job interview and you get asked that question, how do you deal with a difficult stakeholder? This is the person they're talking about. The difficult stakeholder. This person believes that they're the most important person in the room. They dismiss your expertise and they act like their time and opinion outweighs everybody else's. They're not just difficult, they're convinced that they're above everyone else. And sometimes, to be honest, they're just a jerk. Because understanding why people behave the way that they do can be helpful sometimes, even this type of stakeholder might have a reason behind their behavior. They might be under immense pressure from their superiors. Maybe they're used to being in positions of authority where their decisions are rarely questioned. They might have a deep fear of failure, driving them to assert control over every aspect of the project to ensure it meets their expectations. They could simply be accustomed to getting their way, and they find it difficult to trust other people to make the right decisions. Or honestly, they just could be a jerk. Either way, dealing with this challenging stakeholder requires a mix of assertiveness and diplomacy. First, recognize their behavior for what it is, an attempt to establish dominance. The key here is to maintain your confidence and not let their attitude undermine your authority. Approach them with calm professionalism and make it clear that while their opinion is valued, the project's success relies on the collaboration of the entire team. Let them know that you understand their perspective, but set boundaries and stick to them. You should consider documenting all interactions with this person, as this keeps a clear record that can be referenced if their behavior starts impacting the project. And if necessary, don't hesitate to involve higher ups. Managing a challenging personality often requires a team effort. Next up, we have our indecisive stakeholder. You know the type. You've been going back and forth and back for weeks, and they still can't make up their mind on what they want. It's really frustrating, but here's how you can handle it. An indecisive stakeholder might have been burned by a wrong decision in the past, making them really hesitant to commit now. They might be under pressure from their boss, and fear of making a mistake that could impact their career is paralyzing. They also might simply lack the confidence in their understanding of the project, and they worry about choosing the wrong option. So, to help them out, narrow down their choices. Instead of asking open-ended questions like, well, what do you want? Present them with 2 or 3 clear options that are backed by data. This makes it easier for them to decide, and it keeps the project moving forward. For example, your stakeholder might be torn between 2 different features they want to prioritize. Instead of saying, well, what do you want? Just pick one. You can approach it like this. You can say, okay, feature 1 could increase customer retention, while feature 2 has the potential to boost revenue. What aligns better with our current company goals? This way, you're helping them weigh the options based upon what matters most to the project or the company. Let's talk about the next favorite, the micromanager. The stakeholder that is overly involved in everything. They want to be in every meeting. They want to review every document. They want to be on every email and every phone call, and they want to micromanage the entire process. So while their enthusiasm can be appreciated, wink, wink, that's a bad wink, wink, wink. Honestly, they're exhausting. An overly involved stakeholder might be feeling a lack of control or fear that something important is going to slip through the cracks if they're not involved in every detail. They might have been burned in the past by a project that went off course, and now they're trying to overcompensate to ensure success. Or they could be under pressure from their boss to deliver results and feel that their involvement is the only way to meet those expectations. So the key here is to set clear boundaries while still making them feel valued. Establish regular updates and check-ins so that they stay informed without being overly involved in the minutia. For instance, you could tell them, hey, let's have a weekly review session where we go over the key points. I'll manage the day-to-day tasks and ensure you're involved when there's a major decision to be made. This approach keeps them in the loop and it satisfies their need for involvement, but it also protects the project from unnecessary delays caused by this micromanagement. Next up, the uninformed stakeholder. Someone who doesn't really understand the project, but they still want to have a say, right? This can lead to unrealistic demands or absolute confusion about what's feasible. Often this stakeholder is uninformed because they haven't been involved in the project from the beginning, or they might be juggling multiple projects and don't have the bandwidth to dive deeply into each one. They could also be new to the company or the industry and simply lack the background knowledge necessary to fully grasp the complexities of the project. So education is your best friend here. Take the time to explain the project, the scope, the timeline, limitations, and use relatable terms if you can. Use visuals or analogies if it's needed. Try to take these complex concepts and make them more accessible for the stakeholder. For instance, let's say the stakeholder is pushing for a feature to be implemented immediately, but they don't understand that it's dependent upon other parts of the project being completed first. So you might explain it with the house analogy, right? Think of this project like building a house. We can't install the windows until the walls are up. So we need to complete the back end before we can implement this feature. So by framing the explanation in terms that they can easily grasp, you can help them understand the sequence of tasks and manage their expectations. Finally, we have everyone's favorite stakeholder, and I think I can say this is everyone's favorite stakeholder because we've all been there. It's the one that loves to introduce changes at the very last minute. They are notorious for throwing a wrench into things just as you're about to hit a deadline, or after you've already done your sprint planning, or when you're about to do a release. Whew, these guys, why do they do this? Well, often this last minute changer stakeholder person is someone who received new information and they feel that it's crucial for the project's success, right? They don't necessarily understand how to prioritize. They might be perfectionists who only feel comfortable making a decision once they're sure they've considered every possible angle. They could also have pressure from their higher ups, just like all these stakeholders do, and they ask for changes even when it's not ideal. Maybe their boss's boss's boss told them that they want to change, and so they come to you at the last minute every time. We don't really know. But you can combat this by reinforcing the importance of deadlines and the impact that these changes that they're requesting are going to have on the overall project. So tell them, be completely honest. Hey, if we make this change now, we're going to delay this project by X number of days and increase costs by Y number of dollars. Make it really clear that if you bring something else in, something has got to go, right? Always document these conversations just to cover your butt in case something goes wrong later. You want to make sure that you have a clear record of the decisions that were made and why. So yeah, dealing with stakeholders isn't easy, and some are going to test your patience a lot more than others. But whether they're indecisive, overly involved, uninformed, or challenging, you have the tools to handle them effectively. Thanks for watching today. That's all I have for you. Lazy BA out.